Ever since the darkness appeared in the solar system, it has been attempting to communicate with us. Whatever knowledge or power it offers, we are being made deaf and blind to the message by a powerful being we've known for long but never met properly. The sister of Oryx. Is she afraid of what we might learn? Or maybe she's just too compelled to scheme and plot in accordance with her nature and with an ancient pact. Maybe she believes we can be a useful tool to break free from the bonds of her oath. The story of Savathun began billions of years ago on a very distant planet called Fundament. Fundament's crushingly dense atmosphere was toxic. The storms raged horribly and lightning strikes could vaporize anything they hit. A race of conscious cloud-like beings terrorized the planet's populace. Among the races native to Fundament were the short-lived proto-hive beings. There was a continent on the planet called the Osmium Court, ruled by the Osmium King. The king had 3 daughters, Giro, Aurash and Sethona. The sisters were taken care of by their wise tutor, Teox, the same Teox who, in secret, plotted to dethrone the Osmium King, driving him to madness. He was old now, 10 long years of age. The prophesied syzygy was coming, when all 52 of Fundament's moons align so that they pull on Fundament's mass from the same direction and then drift apart, releasing their grip. The planet was supposed to be ravaged by terribly huge tidal waves, floods, and a great disaster would end the story of all Fundament's races. The king locked himself away in the royal orrery and contemplated the coming disaster. Teox, Sethona's tutor, invited the proto-hive from the Helium Court to invade, assassinating the king and making her the ruler of the continent. The sisters were clever and sensed just the right moment to flee the land. They traveled the oceans for a long time. On their way, they found an ancient advanced ship they called the Needle. Shiro wanted to sell the vehicle on one of the inter-race market exchanges of Fundament, but Aurash and Sethona opposed, guided by voices from a worm once kept by their father. A worm that once washed up on the shore of the Osmium Court, dead, but still heard by Sethona. Following the worm's advice, they decided to use the ship to dive to Fundament's core, to learn secrets that would allow them to save their people. On their way down, they met an enormous creature called Leviathan, a disciple of the Traveler. It warned them to stay away and not go any deeper, or terrible ruin will befall the world. Told them they need to make a choice between light and dark, the sky and the deep. The sisters refused to listen to the being and continued on their way. Down there, under the vast ocean, they've met the worm gods. Akka, Zol, Yul, Eir, and Ur. They have been trapped in the ocean by the Traveler and guarded by Leviathan. The worms told the sisters of a way to save their kind and the planet. They offered them a bargain: immortality and great power in exchange for hosting the worm's larvae. just like the dead one that washed up on the shore of the Osmium court. They would become parasitized by the worms and swore an oath to always stay true to their nature, lest they be consumed from the inside out and destroyed. For Shiro, testing her strength; for Aurash, curiosity and exploration; for Sethona, her cleverness and cunning. The sisters agreed and took on new names. Shiro became Shivuarath, the god of war. Aurash took on the male king morph and became Aurex, and Sethona became Savathun, the witch queen. They took more worm larvae back to the surface to spread them amongst the krill people, as Leviathan referred to them. And so the story of the hive began. From there it was a quick, brutal conquest of Fundament, driving out Teox, who fled to one of the moons where she'd been given safe harbor by a race called the Ammonites, the first race we've known to have been visited by the Traveler. They too met their end quickly, slaughtered by the hive so terribly and utterly they were driven to extinction. It was a journey for the siblings. The initial idea was to save their race. Then came the worms' machinations and confusion, as more conquest and death was demanded of them to feed the worms' unquenchable thirst. The siblings learned the sword logic: kill and become stronger, be too weak and die. A race towards the final form, the ultimate shape, the apex being. They traveled and conquered, destroyed and grew stronger. The siblings have also killed one another on many occasions after learning it's not so easy for them to die in the first place. Back in the days of their conflict with the Ammonites, Aurex wished to negotiate with the race. For that, the worm told Savathun he deserved to die, and so she slaughtered her brother, who, instead of perishing, passed on to what we now know as the Ascendant Realm, into his newly created throne world. They were not killing each other out of spite or hate, but love. Whenever one fell, they knew the next time what weakness or trickery to be wary of, and so grew more and more powerful. The story of Savathun is long and complicated, and I won't go into the details today. There will be a separate time for the story of the hive so far, where we'll talk about that. After appearing in the solar system, Savathun has commanded her brood alongside Oryx. After his death, she's learned the ability to commune with the deep, as well as to take. She commands her army, and at the beginning of the season of arrivals, she's made a bargain with Nokris, Oryx's son, to keep the darkness from communicating with the Guardians. Savathun wants to transcend her own design, become more than her worm, to spite the darkness and break free from the bond, to make her conquest her own. We will hear and see more of her during the Witch Queen DLC in 2021. For now, we can only guess. But trying to guess and decipher Savathun's plots only makes her stronger. Maybe we just resist. Maybe we should side with the darkness, get rid of the witch and figure things out from there. Or maybe we aid Savathun in her journey to break free from the deep. I believe we will have some choices to make. Whatever the case, I'll see you in another video, O Guardian Mind.